Hello students, so in this video I'm going to explain the questions before you start to do the assignment. So here are the questions, MC question and long questions. In this chapter, okay, it is not that difficult because you can just breathe in and breathe out to feel your muscles. Okay, is it contracting or relaxing? Okay, something like that. And in this chapter, before we talk about the questions, okay, I would like to remind few key points, okay, in this chapter. So, for example, okay, the structures of the respiratory systems, okay, you need to know the name, and also you need to know the flow, okay, the flow of the air, okay, from the environment to your air sac in the lungs, okay. Apart from that, okay, you need to also point out any mechanisms, okay, the body can help us to filter the incoming air or any other significance, okay, of these structures, okay. And also in the air sac, okay, how can the oxygen, okay, go into your blood and carried in your blood, and how can the carbon dioxide, okay, be removed from your blood, okay, and also be carried in your blood, okay. And also for the air sac, you need to know the adaptive feature of the air sac. That means you need to relate the structure and the function together. And the rubber cell, okay, is also very important in chapter 8, okay. So when you do revision, do revision for chapter 7 and chapter 8 together. And also, last but not least, okay, concatenation. Breathing in, breathing out. So that's why I always talk to you that the 7 steps and the 2 golden rules, this 2 + 7 combination, okay. So it's helping us to clarify the concept of breathing in and out. I will not spend too much time on that, so you can pause the screen, okay, to take a look first, and then we can go into the questions. So for the MC questions, question number 5 probably is not about the 2 + 7 concept, okay. It's about the cells, okay, in our respiratory system. So we have 4 types of cell, P, Q, R, S, okay, and which cell type is found in the lining of the air sac in the lungs. That means the epithelium, okay, epithelium of the air sac. Remember the 1 cell thick structure, okay. This is the lining of the air sac. That means epithelium. So in PQRS, okay, so the question is talking about the organelles in the cell, mitochondria, corpus, and the endoplasmic reticulum. So before you really start to choose which cell type, okay, can be found in the lining of the air sac, I suggest you to clarify, okay, the function of the mitochondria, corpus, and the ER. Mitochondria is for respiration to release energy. Corpus is for the photosynthesis to make food, and the endoplasmic reticulum, because in the question it doesn't mention whether it is rough or smooth ER, so I just put it protein or lipid synthesis for the cell. So in this case, one type of cell can be eliminated at once, okay, which is cell type P, because it contains corpus, okay, and the corpus, they should exist in the plant cell but not in animal cell. So in this case, lining of the air sac in the lungs, it must be animal cell, so cell type P must be wrong, okay. So for the mitochondria and for the ER, okay, any insight or any questions, okay, we can think about it before, okay, we make the choice. So you can recall the function of the lining of the air sac in the lungs. Probably this epithelium, okay, of the air sac just provide a very short diffusion distance for the gases exchange. That the air sac, it is the respiratory surface for the human being, right? So what we are going to think is that, does the lining of the air sac require a large amount of energy? If so, if it really requires a large amount of energy, that means they should contain a large amount of mitochondria. But the point is that the gaseous exchange, probably the oxygen and the carbon dioxide move across the epithelium just by diffusion. Okay, so whether they need a large amount of energy, you need to think about it. And also for the ER, okay, somehow if the cells, okay, they contain a large amount of ER, no matter rough or smooth, okay. I just talk about rough ER first. If a cell contains a large amount of rough ER, probably that means these cells can produce a large amount of protein. For example, in the digestive system, okay, the cells in the stomach, they need to produce enzyme, right? So probably the cells will contain a large amount of ER. Okay, so in this case, remember that to think very, very carefully what is the function of the lining of the air sac in the lungs, and then you will get the answer. And for the question 6 and 7, okay, I put it together first because it's also about the exchange. Okay, the substance are exchanged between the blood vessels and the muscle cells. It is the muscle cells, and it is the blood vessel, and it is the red blood cells. So the point is that something go into the cell and something go out of the cell. So that's the concept of exchange. I give you something and then you give me something back. Okay, it is exchange. So the point is that what you need to think about is that muscle cells need substance Y. So what would substance Y be? And the muscle cells do not need substance X, so they are removed, right? So what would substance X be? So in this case, question 6, it asks about what are substance X and Y. So in this case, refer to the previous slide. You should know that muscle cells, what do they need? Okay, and I give you one hint. Muscle cells require a large amount of energy for muscle contraction. So how can they produce energy? And the hint is the 7 life characteristic. One of that. Okay, only one of the 7 life characteristic to produce energy. And one more hint is that it involves the breakdown of the food to release energy. Okay, so you must be able to point out which life characteristic is it. And then if you figure out that the particular life characteristic, okay, to release energy, you will figure out what substance the muscle cells need, and the blood can carry this substance to the muscle cell, and it would be substance Y. Okay, so and then we must be able to eliminate one choice as well. So it must be the carbon dioxide. Okay, it must be wrong because muscle cells, okay, according if you know that the process, muscle cell will not take in your carbon dioxide because at least they are not plant cell. Okay, why do they need to intake carbon dioxide for what? For photosynthesis? It must be wrong, right? Okay, so for the ABCD, okay, option B must be wrong. Okay, and then you need to also know that something, okay, will be produced by the muscle cell, and the muscle cell do not need it, so it will be removed from the muscle cells. Okay, so in this case, substance X, okay, we can also eliminate, okay, some choices. That means the glucose. Okay, the glucose probably the glucose is used by the muscle cells for what? For release energy. Okay, for release energy. So that's why I tell you to think about how can the muscle cell produce energy. That's a very, very important concept. Okay, so at this moment you know that B and D are wrong, so it will be 50-50. Okay, option A and C you choose for me. And for question 7, okay, because you have already know that substance Y, what is it? So you should be able to point out how can the substance Y move across the capillary wall and to the muscle cells. And for A, B, C, D, probably option A and option D, okay, you do not learn it at this moment. Okay, transpiration is the water loss in plants, okay, we shall discuss it later, okay, in the following chapters. And also for the conservation, okay, that's the preservation of the resources. For example, protect the animals from hunting, okay, or protect the environment, something like that, okay. So only B and C, okay, you have already learned it in this chapter, okay, or in chapter 3, diffusion, okay, diffusion and ventilation. So in question 7 is also 50 and 50 question, okay, B or C, you tell me the answer. And for the question 8, okay, from this question, okay, we start to apply the 2 + 7 concept, okay, 2 golden rules and 7 steps. So in this case, 760, okay, that is the atmospheric pressure. And in this question, it asks about during which time interval, okay, there will be a large amount of hot smoke rush into your lungs. So probably it implies the person is breathing in, right? So what you are going to do is that apply the 2 + 7 concept to point out which part, okay, the person is breathing in. And for question 9, okay, the very similar graph, okay, 706, okay, and also lower than the atmospheric pressure or higher than the atmospheric pressure, okay. So at which point of time on the graph is the volume of lungs the largest, okay. So probably it implies the person is breathing in or out, okay. So you need to apply 2 + 7 as well, okay. So the hint is that the volume of lungs is the largest. So what will be the effect of the air pressure in the lungs? So probably the volume become larger. So what will be the pressure in your lungs? You should be able to point out that, okay. And for the question 10, okay, it's about the inhalation. Okay, inhalation moves air in the lungs, okay. Of course, it's also about the 7 steps. But this question, okay, we do not only focus on the 7 steps, but also we need to focus on the muscles, contraction or relaxation of the intercostal muscle, okay, and how can they affect or bring about the movement of the ribs, okay, and how can they affect the volume inside the chest cavity, that means the thoracic cavity, okay, and how can it bring about the action of inhalation, okay, how can it help the person to breathe in. And the question 11, also you can see that actually the same graph, but okay, there is no the reference line for you, okay, so probably recall to the first hints, okay, add it yourself, okay. And then the second step is that you need to point out which part is inhalation and which part is exhalation. You need to tell me first, or you need to think about it first, okay, and then you can determine, okay, option A, B, C, D, which is correct and which is wrong, okay. So probably what I want to highlight is that for option B and option D, probably they are related to each other, because intercostal muscles contract, okay, it will bring the rib cage moved upwards and outwards. So probably in this question, I want to tell you that, okay, somehow in MC question, you need to make sure that maybe some choices, they are related to each other. They will be correct together, or they will be wrong together. So make sure that, okay, you point out the inhalation or exhalation in the graph, okay, and then you will make the correct choice. And it is the part for the MC, and then we shall have the second video for the long question.